Hello everybody, and thank you for coming back to the channel. And in this video I'm going to show you how I build the fin and the rudder. As you see, I've already laid out the outline of the fin and rudder. Those were two pieces, they're separate, but I had to glue some things together. And I've already cut out most of the components. So the ribs, which are like ribs for the rudder and ribs for the ribs for the fin and ribs for the rudder, and also then the big pieces, which are this F1, F2, which are actually going to be at this level. So there's some progress there, which is good. Now I don't think that is going to be the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is to build this kind of framework that I see here. I'm not sure if I'm understanding the plan correctly, but what I understand is that this whole contraption, I'm going to call it, is built independently and then glued onto the fuselage once it's built. First challenge that I see is that I see here this piece J2, which is this one. I've already traced it and ready to cut, but then I see that this, for let's say the leading edge of the fin, has to glue onto something, but there's a hole here. So when I cut this out, I'm not going to cut out that hole, which I think is probably done for weight, so that I have a place where to glue it on. So I think the finning itself is going to be like a very similar structure to the elevator, but then actually building the contraption, let's say the 3D or the rear part, the upper rear part of the fuselage, that's going to be a bit more of the challenge. So I'm going to see how I do that, and at the same time I've got to think how I'm going to leave enough space so that I can put in the stabilizer, because at some point the stabilizer will have to come in through here. This is the position of the stabilizer, so I've got to see how I manage to put it in place all together. So I think quite a complex part, and it's not fully clear from the plan, at least for me. So a little bit of thinking, which is good. I think it's always healthy to think. So I'll update you when I have at least a structure, and let's see some of the next steps also. I followed the recommendations from Cliff, and I've changed the hinges because the metal strips didn't work, so I put in some wire. Cliff mentioned from masks. I got it from what we use in this place, in this area of the world, to close the bread bags. So let's see if that works. I think it looks okay, but I might still need to do some tweaking. But now I'm up against a bit of a conundrum, because this is this piece that goes here, and now I have to somehow decide in what order I put things in. So I could glue this in and then try to squeeze in the elevator through there, or should I squeeze in the elevator already? So I still have to give it some thought. And other thoughts that I'm having is, should I put the tissue on it before or after I assemble it? So I'm still thinking about it. I'm a bit stuck, but I'll do something. One thing or other I'll do, right? So if I stick this, it would take some time to cure, and then I would have to, I can't even hold it, take one of the elevators off, squeeze it through, and then make sure that I have some kind of the correct angle of incidence. I'm thinking in this case to make the angle of incidence that is a bit more positive, or if in any case to make it positive rather than negative, as that might help to balance off the weight in flight. So it's not good for aerodynamics, but if I do it slightly, it might work. On the plan I see that this rib actually it should be sitting here, but then I think as I took the big size, then it doesn't quite fit exactly. So these are little things that one needs to figure out as one goes along. But I think I'll have this ready. I'll start to build it up, and I'll show you soon, and then you'll tell me if you think I did right or wrong. And here is the tail assembly. I've put it all together already. I had to use jigs and spacers because there were some pieces that I had to add in, like to make sure that it glues together. So I put in a piece that is not on the plan. There are also one. I put in already the stringers for the rear part, so I think it's holding up quite well. So let's see, then eventually I'll have to then put the tissue on it, which is going to be a big question, because it's always a challenge to put the tissue on these combined surfaces, right, where it connects. About the hinges, I'm not quite happy still with them, so I think I'm going to probably revisit them and maybe use other wires or other cables, because they hold in there, but they don't hold the position still. So I still have to think how I do that in a different way. But I'm thinking overall it doesn't look that bad. So it's there's the whole assembly. I can put it aside and then continue with another part of the project. So as a bit of a summary, so there we have the tail assembly and the wing. So two big projects are done. What I'm going to do next is the propeller, what I wanted to start up. There's the template for the propeller, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to cut it out 4 times out of a 9mm balsa, but that will be then on the next chapter, so I'll follow up on that. But probably what I'll do also, I'll do some kind of fixing things up. There are some gaps here in the wing. I don't know if you can see it actually there, where I had to correct the position of the rib, so I have to fix that up, and I also have to do the boxes for the landing gear and things like that. So there are little things that have to be corrected and fixed up, so I might do that first and then go on with the propeller. So in any case, thank you everybody for watching and for being around and commenting, and I'll see you next time.